You think you know beauty? That swipe of mascara, that plumped lip, those flawless nails. Think again. Origin of Things pulls back the curtain on the shocking, centuries-long journeys hiding in your makeup bag. We're diving deep into the real stories behind the products you use every day. Stories of danger, rebellion, and human ingenuity you've never been told. Over the next 5 episodes, we'll uncover the hidden history buried beneath every swipe of lipstick, every dab of foundation, how lashes, lip fillers, nails, and wigs changed the world, one daring innovation at a time. So buckle up, because today we begin with makeup's shocking 6,000-year origin story. Let's begin. Imagine standing on the banks of the Nile, 6,000 years ago. The sun beats down relentlessly. A figure kneels, grinding a dark, shimmering rock on a stone slab. They mix it with water, animal fat, maybe even a drop of precious oil. With a carefully carved stick, they lean close to a reflective pool and draw a thick, dramatic line around their eye. This isn't vanity. This is survival. This is power. This is the birth of makeup. But here's the shocker you never knew. That first eyeliner, Kohl, wasn't just about looking fierce. It contained lethal levels of lead. Egyptians literally poisoned themselves for beauty and protection. And that dark eye, it was believed to ward off evil spirits and the blinding glare of the desert sun. Think about that the next time you reach for your mascara. What began as a toxic paste for the dead and divine became a multi-billion-dollar global obsession. Before that first deliberate smudge of pigment, the human face was a canvas exposed. Imagine ancient Mesopotamia, 5,000 years ago. Life is harsh, brutal, short. Disease is rampant, sunlight unforgiving. Your face tells your story. Sunburned, scarred, aged prematurely. Social status, harder to read, less visually potent, protection, minimal. This was a world where the raw, unadorned face was vulnerable. The problem wasn't just aesthetic. It was environmental, spiritual, and deeply social. People needed ways to signal who they were. Priest, warrior, fertile woman. They needed protection from the elements, sun, wind, insects. They needed to appease gods and ward off demons they believed caused sickness and misfortune. Without pigments, without defined features, individual identity blurred into the collective struggle. Status symbols were heavy: gold, stone carvings. But what about marking the living body, especially the face, the focal point of human interaction? Natural resources offered glimpses: berry juice, staining lips, clay dust settling on skin. But these were fleeting, accidental. There was no deliberate transformation, no crafted identity you could put on each morning. Imagine facing a hostile tribe or a revered deity with nothing but your bare, weathered skin. How could you signal your divine connection? How could you protect your most visible vulnerability? The raw human face lacked armor, lacked language beyond its inherent flaws. It cried out for definition, for enhancement, for symbolic power. Humanity needed a tool, not just for beauty, but for survival, communication, and spiritual communion. The unadorned face was a problem waiting for an ingenious, dangerous, and utterly human solution, but creating something deliberately designed to alter appearance. That required a leap beyond utility into the realm of symbol and self. It required confronting a fundamental question: could humans improve upon, or even disguise, what nature gave them? The answer, born in fire and toxic minerals, would change humanity's relationship with itself forever. The true invention moment of makeup is lost to prehistory, likely emerging simultaneously across early civilizations like Egypt and Mesopotamia around 3500 BCE. It wasn't a single eureka, but a slow, dangerous alchemy born of necessity and observation. Picture an early Egyptian artisan, perhaps a priest or healer, grinding green malachite for ceremonial objects. They notice the vibrant stain it leaves on skin. Or someone crushing red ochre, used in cave paintings and burials, seeing its potential on living flesh. The breakthrough wasn't just finding color, but binding it. Animal fats, beeswax, plant oils. These transformed dry minerals into something that could adhere, and the purpose, initially far beyond vanity. In Egypt, the driving force was religion and protection. They believed the Eye of Horus, represented by that dramatic Kohl line, offered divine protection against the harsh sun and malevolent forces. The green malachite paste echoed the skin of Osiris, god of rebirth, symbolizing vitality. But here's the human drama. The materials were treacherous. That beautiful green malachite often contained copper, irritating skin. The iconic Kohl, primarily galena, lead sulfide. They knew lead was dangerous in other contexts, yet it's rich. Lasting color and perceived protective power outweighed the risk. Imagine the trial and error, mixing fats that turned rancid, minerals that caused rashes or worse, the near miss, countless individuals suffering lead poisoning, blindness, or infections from contaminated mixtures. Yet, they persisted. Why? Because the perceived benefits, spiritual armor, status marking, sun glare reduction, were immense. The first makeup artist wasn't a beautician, but likely a priest or healer experimenting with sacred minerals. The creation story is one of profound, risk-taking, blending nascent chemistry with deep spiritual belief. They weren't just making paint for the face, they were crafting a shield for the soul, using the most dangerous elements their world offered. The courage, or perhaps desperation, to apply known toxins directly to the eyes speaks volumes about the perceived power of this invention. It was a gamble with mortality for a glimpse of the divine and a sense of control in a chaotic world. And tragically, effectively, it worked. Well enough to launch a global phenomenon built on perilous foundations. From the toxic banks of the Nile, makeup began its complex journey, morphing with each culture it touched. By 3000 BCE, Mesopotamians used kohl and rouge, alluring pale skin achieved with white lead. Another deadly choice, but the real shock came when we see how quickly these practices diverged. In Greece, around 800 BCE, makeup became entangled with morality. Pale skin remained desirable, signifying leisure, but philosophers like Plato condemned artificial enhancements as deceptive. Yet Greek women used mulberry juice for blush, ochre for lips, and yes, white lead for that coveted pallor. Then came Rome, taking it to opulent, scandalous heights. Roman empresses like Poppaea Sabina famously bathed in ass's milk and used vast quantities of white lead and red vermilion. Makeup signaled wealth and status openly, but also drew fierce criticism from moralists like Seneca, who saw it as corrupt decadence. But here's the pivot that changed everything: the Silk Road, around 200 BCE. Trade routes exploded, carrying not just silks and spices, but makeup ingredients and techniques. Kohl spread from Egypt across North Africa, the Middle East, and deep into Asia. In India, Kylie became culturally embedded, used for both beauty and ritual protection, especially for children. In China, during the Tang Dynasty, elaborate face painting with rice powder, rouge, and even gold leaf flourished, signifying rank and beauty. Japan adopted Chinese influences, leading to the iconic geisha's white Oshiroi foundation. Meanwhile, in Europe, after the Roman Empire fell, the church demonized makeup as sinful vanity. For centuries during the so-called Dark Ages, its open use was suppressed, driven underground. But the desire didn't die. The Renaissance saw a cautious return. Centered in Venice, the epicenter of trade and vice. Venetian women rediscovered lead white for a ghostly pallor, a stark contrast to rosy cheeks achieved with safer plant dyes. A key innovation emerged here. The first commercially produced cosmetics, sold by sellers of secrets and apothecaries. This shift from homemade potions to purchased products was crucial, laying the groundwork for the modern beauty industry. Makeup wasn't just spreading, it was adapting, commercializing, and constantly sparking debate about morality, class, and identity wherever it went. Makeup's rise was never smooth. Its unintended consequences ripple through history, a mix of empowerment and profound damage. The most immediate and devastating was poisoning. For millennia, the quest for pale skin relied on Venetian ceruse, a mixture of white lead and vinegar. Used by queens like Elizabeth I, it caused horrific skin rot, hair loss, muscle paralysis, and death. Vermilion used for rouge attacked the nervous system. These weren't rare side effects. They were occupational hazards for the elite and the courtesans who emulated them. Countless lives were shortened in the pursuit of an ideal. But the toxicity wasn't just physical. Makeup became a weapon in social and gender wars. In 18th century Britain, A man could legally annul a marriage if his wife had used cosmetics before the wedding, deemed deceptive entrapment. Yet, paradoxically, makeup also offered women a rare form of control and income. Painted ladies, actresses, and courtesans often pioneered styles and sold beauty secrets, carving economic niches in restrictive societies. The Industrial Revolution amplified everything. Mass production in the late 1800s made cosmetics cheaper and more accessible than ever. But what happened next reshaped society, especially in advertising. Companies like Pond's and later Max Factor in Hollywood didn't just sell products, they sold insecurities and manufactured ideals. They defined what beauty meant on a global scale, often rooted in Eurocentric features. This created immense psychological pressure, linking self-worth to appearance in unprecedented ways. Makeup, intended to enhance, could now fuel crippling anxiety and homogenize beauty standards. Another unforeseen twist, its role in warfare. During World War II, red lipstick became a potent symbol of defiance and patriotism for women on the home front and in factories. Brands like Elizabeth Arden even created shades like Victory Red for the U.S. Marine Corps Women's Reserve. Makeup morphed from personal adornment to political statement. It also accelerated social change. The flappers of the 1920s used dark eye makeup. However, this liberation came with backlash, reinforcing stereotypes about loose women. Makeup's legacy is this potent duality. It empowered individuals and poisoned them, challenged norms and enforced brutal new ones, created billion-dollar industries while exploiting insecurities. It proved that altering the surface could trigger deep, unpredictable shifts in the very fabric of society. Today, makeup is a staggering $400 billion global industry, a far cry from those lead-laden pastes on the Nile. The modern legacy is defined by science and choice. Gone are the lethal heavy metals, replaced by rigorously tested synthetics and natural ingredients. Innovation exploded. Long-wear foundations, smudge-proof mascaras, pigments in every imaginable hue. Brands like MAC and Fenty Beauty revolutionized inclusivity, finally catering to the vast spectrum of human skin tones long ignored. Social media transformed application into an art form and a global community, with tutorials democratizing skills once held by professionals, yet the core human drivers remain unchanged. Self-expression, ritual, confidence, artistry, and yes, the desire to conform or enhance. We use it as armor for job interviews, as celebration for nights out, as therapy for self-care routines. But the story of makeup teaches us profound lessons. It shows innovation isn't always safe or ethical at first. It's driven by deep human needs, protection, identity, belonging, often pursued with reckless ingenuity. It highlights how a simple solution can spiral into complex cultural phenomena with massive societal impacts, both liberating and oppressive. The constant tension between self-expression and societal pressure, between authenticity and artifice, remains central. Makeup mirrors our values. The toxic pursuit of impossible ideals persists in digital filters and airbrushing, while the body positivity movement champions bare-faced confidence. It's a powerful tool, but the lesson is clear. The most significant transformation makeup offers isn't on the skin, but in the hands and mind of the user. It's a testament to humanity's endless desire to redefine itself, for better and sometimes for worse. Understanding its origin, a blend of survival, spirituality, and danger, makes that compact on your dresser not just a tool, but a capsule of human history, chemistry, and the eternal quest to be seen. The story of makeup teaches us that even the smallest inventions, a smudge of earth, a line around the eye, can reshape culture, empower individuals, and reveal our deepest needs: protection, identity, belonging. It shows human ingenuity solving problems in ways both brilliant and perilous, reminding us that progress often walks hand in hand with unintended consequences. Next time you apply your favorite lipstick or mascara, remember you're participating in a 6,000-year-old ritual of self-creation. What does that daily choice mean to you? How has makeup shaped your confidence or self-expression? Let us know in the comments below. If this journey through hidden history surprised you, give us a thumbs up. It helps us uncover more origin stories. Subscribe to Origins of Stuff and hit the bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into the extraordinary past of everyday objects. We'll be exploring the surprising truth behind something you wear every single day. Prepare to rethink your wardrobe.